with the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Monday. Recorded earlier, did some cool shit on my new studio, and then it didn't. It recorded, kind of. I got the audio version. I may put that out. I don't know. Technology. But, hey, we're getting there. Almost there. But this is the friggin' Farm and Ranch Report for Monday, April 20th, 2026. It is 4:20. If you're smoking weed, good on you. If you're not, good on you. If you're still celebrating 420 for any other reasons, maybe look at not. It's especially if you're over the age of, I don't know, 25 or so. Anyhow. All right, so let's get into the show. Got a couple big stories this week from this weekend. Number one, the U.S. Navy shot a hole in an Iranian cargo ship on Sunday, and then we took it because why not? Iran is vowing retaliation, and the ceasefire expires on Wednesday. On the second story, the cattle on feed numbers came in Friday afternoon, and it was bullish. March placements were down almost 8% year over year. The second lowest for the month since 1996. The pipeline is getting tighter on the cattle supply. And finally, despite the bullish fundamentals, cattle sold off all last week, and they were selling again today. June fat's down about $1, and the feeder's down $2 to $3. DTN is asking this morning as to whether the spring cash has topped off. I don't think that it has. We'll talk about why, but let's get into it. But before we do, we gotta pay some bills, you know, and we gotta talk about our friends over at Lone Star Stockyards. I'm trying to find my tab here. All right. Here we go. Boom. Lone Star Stockyards there out of Wildorado, Texas, just outside of Amarillo. Got a sale coming up tomorrow, Tuesday, as you're probably going to be listening to this, getting it out late again. But sale on Tuesday. They got a delicious Mexican food truck at every sale. Starts at 11 a.m. Central. Special sales coming up. We got the Texas Angus Association feeder calf sale on May 5th, and again October 6th and December 1st. And then they got horse sales going on throughout the year. They do run some loose horses through the ring, but mostly they focus on their catalog sales. Just finished up their spring sale, and it was in good shape. They're over on Atkinson Road there in Wildorado. You can call Bill Martin. He's the owner of the outfit, 970-302-5834. Or Sheldon Field is the yard manager, 806-736-0040. Or the office, 806-677-0777. So thanks to Lone Star Stockyards. Make sure you go check them out at the sale. You can watch them live as well and bid live, but go put your ass in the seat, bid on some cattle, and let them know that you heard about it on the Burning Daylight show on the friggin' Farm and Ranch Report. And then also we've got up in Nebraska off of Highway 20, the old reliable Atkinson livestock market. Got a sale today, Tuesday, April 21st. If you're listening, they got their special bred cows and pairs auction with a 9 a.m. weigh up, 12 noon for the breeding, and they got a lot of cattle already consigned. So check that out. And make sure if you got any questions, give him a holler. Wes Kilmurray's the manager over there, 402-340-4225. And Austin Jarecki, the yard manager, 402-340-8540. And appreciate you can check them out at atkinsonlivestock.com, and the same way with Lone Star Stockyards.com on that end. So all right, let's get into the show. We got a packed house. We got a lot going on. So we'll start with the cattle sell-off. Last week, June live cattle dropped $1.85. April dropped $1.82, and May feeders got hammered. They were down 707 on the week. Today it was more of the same. Fats down a quarter to $1 at midday, and the feeders down 82 to 310, or $1.82 to 310. But on the cash side, take a look at that. Last week, Southern live cattle traded at mostly 248. So that's steady to $2 higher in the Texas Panhandle, unevenly steady in Kansas, and steady to $1 lower in Nebraska. Dress cattle held at 388. That was steady to $1 lower. So the cash trade held pretty solid. Box beef on Monday morning is strong. Choice up $2 to 383.06, and select was up 592 to 382.52. So the choice select spread collapsed just 54 cents, meaning that the demand is strong across all grades, not just the premium cuts. DTN ran a piece this morning asking whether cash is topped for the spring, and I think when the board is selling off, but the cash holds and the box beef is still screaming right along, that it's a technical correction in the board on the futures and not a fundamental top of the market. The selling, I think, is going to exhaust itself. So open interest slipped again, which tells you the longs are exiting positions and not new shorts piling in. So when the technical selling is done, the fundamentals will go ahead and reassert. Reassert. On the grain side, corn pulled back late last week. May closed Friday at 448 3/4, up a quarter cent. Cash corn at 412 3/4. July at 458. So we're back below the 450 feeder pain threshold. So giving those feeder guys a little bit of margin relief. KC wheat was pretty volatile last week on the expanding drought in the Western Plains, and that story is not going away anytime soon. It don't look like. But energy was where all the main action was. Oil crashed 11.54% on Friday when Iran opened the Hormuz Strait. West Texas index closed around 83, but on Saturday Iran reversed course and closed the strait again. And then on Sunday we seized an Iranian ship, and oil should probably bounce back on that re-escalation. The gasoline national average dropped to 442. What is that set? Dropped to 404. Yeah. So 4042 according to so 404. And diesel was at 561 as of last week's data. If oil bounces back on the ship seizure, I don't expect the diesel prices to drop anytime soon. Okay. Cattle on feed report was a pretty big one. It dropped Friday, and I was not able to get that read and put out a show before we left Sacramento to watch the A's go ahead and lose. But on a bright note, I did get to read the report, and then I got to see that Murakami, the Japanese slugger that the White Sox signed this year, hit one over the damn batter's eye in Sacramento. I think it was like 430 feet, but that thing was just a piss missile. Sounded like a gunshot from where we were sitting in right center, but that's neither here nor there. All right, so let's talk about the cattle on feed report. On feed as of April 1st, 11.576 million head. So it's down 0.5% from last year, and continuing on the pattern of the tightening feedlot supplies. March placements were 1.71 million head, down 7.67% from last year. And that is the second lowest March placement number since 1996. The closed Mexican border is directly suppressing that number, and so this is a bullish number. On the March marketing side, 1.62 million, down 5.5%. Also was the second lowest on record for the period, or was second lowest since 1996. And then the heifers on feed were 4.32 million, down 1.37%. And so the ratio of feeders was 37.3% heifers. So some heifers are being retained for breeding, which is a bullish trend long term because it means producers are trying to rebuild their herd. But it also clamps down on the current supply. So it's kind of a two-edged sword there. Fund traders are heavily net long. So there's about 129,000 contracts in live cattle and 21,000 in feeders. That's a lot of money betting on higher prices. The bottom line there is the report confirmed the bull case. The cattle pipeline is tighter than expected, but the market sold off anyways, and that tells you that the sell-off is about positioning and profit taking and not fundamentals. Okay. So main story of the day was the U.S. Navy seizes an Iranian ship. This happened on Sunday. The USS Spruance, which is a guided missile destroyer, intercepted an Iranian cargo ship called the Tuska. It's a Touska. I'm not sure how they pronounce that in Farsi. I think that's what they speak in Iran. Anyway, in the Gulf of Oman, the Tuska is a 900-foot long, nearly as big as an aircraft carrier, oil tanker, and it was under Treasury sanctions and was headed from China to the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas. The Navy gave warnings for 6 hours, but the crew refused to stop, so the Navy shot a hole in the engine room. And the U.S. Marines from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit boarded and took control of the vessel. President Trump posted that they stopped them, quote, right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room, end quote. This is the first time the U.S. has fired on and seized a vessel since the blockade began. And Iran's military command, known as Qatam al-Anbiya, called it armed piracy and warned of a swift response. Their parliament speaker said that it is impossible for others to pass through the Hormuz while Iran cannot. Okay, so and then as far as the timeline goes, it was a little bit of a roller coaster, to say the least. So we'll walk you through what happened since Friday, because since I didn't cover anything Friday morning, Iran declared the Hormuz Strait was open and oil crashed 10%. West Texas index hit $83 a barrel, and the world kind of just sighed a breath of relief. And then Friday afternoon, Iran attacked commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. And then Saturday, Iran's Revolutionary Guard reversed course and closed the strait once again. The parliament speaker said the Hormuz will not return to normal while the U.S. blockade continues. And the Iran's sanction waiver on the oil that Iran is selling expired Saturday with no extension from the administration. And then Sunday, the Navy seized the Tuska, and Iran has vowed retaliation. Monday morning, Iran announced that it will not send negotiators to Pakistan, and Trump says Vice President Vance is headed to Islamabad anyways. So the ceasefire expires Monday, April 22nd. That is a hard deadline, and, well, allegedly, we'll see. And if there is no deal by Wednesday, all bets are off on that. So So recap on the war reel. So Friday, my thoughts about the Hormuz reopening was a ceasefire, not a peace deal. And that turned out to be right on that. It lasted about 8 hours. The strait is closed again, and the U.S. Navy is shooting holes in Iranian ships. Iran says they will retaliate, and they probably will. I don't know what they've got left, but they still can do some damage. The sanctions waiver is expired, and Pakistan talks are in doubt. But if you locked in diesel while oil was at $83 a barrel on Friday, good on you. And if you didn't, you might be looking at $6 diesel again by the end of the week, depending on what happens on Wednesday. And that's where it all hangs on. So your diesel price, your urea quote, and every load of cattle you haul is all kind of waiting to see what the hell is going on come Wednesday. All right. On the policy watch, House Republicans are targeting a floor vote in late April on the farm bill. The Senate's Senator Boozman says the Ag Committee could start within weeks, but immigration and reconciliation bills are crowding the calendar because I think the government's still shut down. Kinda, I don't know. Iran's sanctions waiver expired Saturday 19th, and it was not renewed. So that further squeezes Iran, whose economy is in pretty dire straits at the moment. The USDA published new NEPA environmental review regulations on April 7th, affecting Forest Service projects and grazing permits. And then on the farm program payments, new rules now allow increased payments, limits raised to $155,000. All right, let's look at the Drought Monitor because it's pretty tough out there. The Southeast drought is now in the worst since the U.S. Drought Monitor began in 2000, so take that with a grain of salt. It's only 26 years. It does give you some good data, but to say it's the worst on record is, well, possibly truthful. It's a little bit misleading because our record's not very long. Anyway, 96.83% of the Southeast is in a moderate drought or worse. So that's D2 or worse. 81.75% is in severe drought or worse. So that is pretty alarming, and it is unprecedented. Again, only 26 years of data that we're looking at, but still, it's a first. Soil moisture is non-existent in many areas, and pasture conditions are poor to quite poor. Producers have been feeding hay since last fall, and stock ponds are running pretty low. And the Southern Plains are at 81.87% drought, and some South Texas farmers have ceased operations entirely. Winter wheat and oats are severely stressed, and many fields are being grazed out by livestock rather than being harvested for the grain. On the national level, 51% of the lower 48 is in moderate drought or worse. That is up almost 13% since last month. March 2026 was the warmest March on record in the contiguous U.S. At 9.4 degrees above the 20th century average. So if you're a cow-calf producer in the Southeast or the Southern Plains, water and forage are an immediate crisis, most likely. The high cattle prices really don't help you if you don't have any way to keep them fed and watered. All right. Continuing along the weather angle, we do have some good news. There's a calmer pattern for this week, so no major severe weather setups through at least midweek. Friday's severe weather was as bad as forecasted. The tornado, there was a PDS tornado warning in Wisconsin, tornado watch for Illinois and Missouri, and 85-mile-an-hour wind gusts across eastern Kansas and western Missouri. The week produced over 630 severe weather reports and more than 40 tornadoes. That's a lot of freaking funnel clouds. Precipitation outlook for April 21st through the 27th favors above normal rain for central and southern plains and parts of the southeast, so that could provide some much-needed drought relief. But the western plains remain stubbornly dry, so if you're grazing in western Kansas, Oklahoma Panhandle, or eastern Colorado, my old stomping grounds, conditions are getting tighter. All right, so we'll round it out with on this day in sports. Where are we at? Okay, so on this day, April 20th, 2010, the Deepwater Horizon oil rig exploded 40 miles off the Louisiana coast. It killed 11 men, and the subsequent spill was over 200 million gallons, and it was the largest marine oil spill in U.S. history. And then 15 years later to the day, the U.S. Navy is shooting holes in Iranian oil ships over oil access. So some things just don't really change. Situations may be a little different, but the long run, still oil on top of the water. I don't know if there was any oil leaking from that ship that we took over. I think maybe it was empty. I got to read more in detail on that. Also on this day in 1821, Franz Karl Achard, 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 he died. He was a German chemist who produced the first commercial process to produce sugar from sugar beets and established the first sugar beet refinery in 1802. Sugar beets are still a major crop in the northern plains through Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wyoming. Helped get the beef cattle industry started in those northern plains states, being able to feed sugar beets throughout the winter. And in 1862, the first pasteurization test was completed by Louis Pasteur and Claude Bernard, and it was a major catalyst in the foundation of modern food safety. On the sports note, the A's won tonight. They lost the series against the White Sox. It was a little bit of a come down to earth week at home for them. They split the series with Texas and then lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox, who are not a particularly good team, but they're playing some decent ball right now. And they've got some fun pieces. And we had a good time at the ballpark, although they got their ass whooped 8-1. But they bounced back the next day, lost again on Sunday, and then they just took game 1 of a 3-game set in Seattle bringing their record to 11-10 with a half game up on the Texas Rangers for the lead in the AL West. It's a good day to be an A's fan. The Rockies took 2 out of 4, split the series with the Dodgers, which is no small feat. So hats off to the Rockies, on to comparatively a hot start compared to last couple of years. So good news on the baseball front if you follow those particular teams. But if I don't know how your team is doing, probably not very good, because I've learned anything in life that baseball is going to disappoint you at some point. But I think that's all I got for you. Make sure. What do I got on this last slide? Okay, so to close it all out, the cattle on feed report confirmed what we already knew. The cattle pipeline is tight and is getting tighter, much more so than we originally thought. It's the second lowest March placements since 1996. But the market sold off anyway, and that tells you that this pushback is about cushioning and not fundamentals. When the technical selling is done, the fundamentals reassert, so be patient on that end. The bigger risk this week is Wednesday, and that's when the ceasefire between us and Iran expires. So if Iran retaliates for the ship seizure, and if the Pakistan talks go nowhere, you could see oil back at $100 a barrel and diesel back at $6 a gallon by Thursday. So watch the news. The Southeast drought is record-breaking and getting worse, but it looks like maybe some help is on the way later this week. That's all I got for you. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share it with your neighbors. Share it with your grandma. She'll probably find me hot. Check the month. Check the dashboard at burnin-daylight-report.vercel.app. That's VERCEL.app. It's $20 a month, and it gets you the Freedom Framework scores and the daily call with all the confidence ratings and all of the data that goes with it. You can export that so you can check it out for yourself. Also get access to a Man About a Horse app, which I think is going to be a really neat tool for helping you price out your horse in the future. But go follow me on all the social medias, like, subscribe, rate, review, and go check out Substack, burningdaylight.substack.com. Subscribe there. You get a deal on all the apps, and then you get all the information that I use to put these shows together. You get in one nice, neat little post. And it helps me keep this thing going. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And go A's, go Rockies, go America. Hopefully we get this shit up in Iran wrapped up soon. I'm not holding my breath on it, but I'm hopeful. Anyhow, that is all I got for you. So move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Up in the morning beneath the stars so bright, pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kind of snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight, burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.